And we have our technology reporter, and technology is critical to this show. We have Konrad Martin from Technology Advisors. Hi, Konrad.
Hi, Jeff. How are you today?
Good, thanks. Heard a lot of press releases from Apple in the last day or so.
And right up to the hour. They're actually bringing some exciting news back to the users of the iPhone and the iPad, because with the iOS operating system 6, they got rid of Google Maps, and they thought it was a good decision because they brought in their own maps, but they're not as up to date. They don't have as much data as Google does, and in the next few hours you're going to be able to download Google Maps for the iPhone and iPad. So that's pretty exciting news, because Google has really the strength in their data and being able to provide the most quality maps that are out there in the marketplace today.
So I don't have to get lost in the desert of Australia anymore.
That's right. And it won't take you to a Rite Aid that's in California when you're here in Massachusetts.
I don't want to go to Rite Aid no matter what, but I'm forced to by Blue Cross and Blue Shield.
Right.
If they're listening. That's my new healthcare policy. I have to go to Rite Aid if I want my prescription at their price. So why don't we talk a little bit about what's going on with these? It's the end of the year, and what we can learn as we're going into New Year about which technologies we should be utilizing.
Well, again, going back to the phones real quickly, you've got some really exciting phones out there. You got the Galaxy 3 from Samsung, which is only $199. So price point, it's a much superior price point as far as the iPhone is almost $700 without a contract. The Galaxy 3 on video, you can zoom in. You can't do that with the iPhone. So people are criticizing the iPhone. They're saying that Apple has actually fallen behind the curve, and it's more of a conservative phone today, when only 2 years ago it was the phone to have.
It was the phone.
It was the phone. So that's one of the problems that Apple has been fighting. And if you couple that with the iPad mini, everybody was very excited about the iPad mini coming out. However, what the marketplace showed was that Apple had lost, or the perception is that Apple has lost some of its creativity, and that became a problem. So if you notice, in the past month, Apple stock actually dropped over a period of almost 100 points.
So instead of the Steve Jobs philosophy of, let's say, marketing breakthroughs, they came in with what we would call sort of like basic, boring line extensions.
They just duplicated what they do, and they just made it smaller, and that's not a Steve Jobs.
Yeah, that's no breakthrough.
That's no breakthrough. They don't call you a visionary when you just repeat things you've already done.
You know, it's really hard to believe that the most valued company, and I mean stock market valued company in America, doesn't have a bench deeper than Steve Jobs in terms of coming out with breakthroughs.
Or is it that he was so far on the cutting edge that he was so far ahead of the curve?
Right, like Edison.
Like Edison.
Was he really an Edison with a team behind him to build his products?
Right. He was. They say he was a tough businessman. He was a tough boss, but he got great results.
Well, you know, he changed the way we look at the world, but you're saying they're not changing it now, and we should be aware, because if we're looking to build our business, there are products as good or better at a lot cheaper price, more reasonable.
Absolutely, and that do a lot more things.
Right.
Apple is now trying to catch up to Samsung, and they haven't been in that boat for 5 years.
Wow.
So that's some of the things that are happening on the gadget style of the IT world. Some of the things that are on the software style is, excuse me, Microsoft has come out with Windows 8.
Right. I'm very intrigued by that. When I looked online about Windows 8, I was looking to buy it for my laptop, and basically it was saying, if you're going to buy it for your traditional old-fashioned laptop, don't do it.
Don't do it. That's right. Stay with Windows 7 on your traditional, because the laptop itself, the screen, Windows 8 is based on a touch screen, so it's based more like a tablet. Microsoft is still hyping the Surface, which is out, but the Surface that's out can't be joined to a domain, so it's more like a toy.
So you have to buy the new laptops that go with Windows 8.
Or you buy the new Surface when it comes out in 2 months, and it's going to be able to be joined to a domain, and the cover itself is the keyboard.
Now, going back to the Samsung story, does Windows 8 give Microsoft, again, does it take it ahead of Apple in a sense? That you're able to use a laptop that's a touchscreen, which you don't have from Apple?
I think when the Surface Pro comes out and it's able to be joined to a domain, most of your laptops, even in business, will go away, and people will be using the Surface because the price point's right, and it's convenient, and you can actually work with it and play with it.
Right.
So it does put them, I feel, ahead of the game and ahead of Apple.
So you can get rid of your tablet and your laptop and consolidate to the Surface.
Exactly.
And do you have a sense of what the price points for the Surface are going to be?
They're around $1,000.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good for a robust laptop. And the beauty with the Windows 8 icons is that they're live on the laptop. So instead of having static icons like application icons like you see now on the iPad, these things will actually be clicking through moving videos, pictures as the icon.
Now,
so kind of exciting.
Now again, I'm going to speak a little selfishly with my next question. But I know I represent a lot of entrepreneurs. But first of all, let me remind everybody that this is Radio Entrepreneurs, and we're speaking with Konrad Martin about new technology coming into the new year. Konrad, I have become sort of risk adverse at buying new laptops. Every time I buy a new laptop, and when you walk into the store, they say to me, "Yes, sir, we can integrate all your old stuff from your laptop into your new laptop, and you're going to be working fine." And it never happens. It never, ever happens. There's no such. So you know everything's. It's sort of like an old pair of shoes. That laptop's worked into my style. It's got my datebook working the way I want it to work. It's got everything integrated. I'm using many websites right now that I'm associated with through work situations. I know that it's going to take me weeks to get everything integrated properly.
Well, that's one of the problems that we run into when we're doing upgrades at accounting firms or CPA firms. Everybody likes it the way they have it. They might want the newer power, the stronger processing power, etc., the speed, but they really want that laptop to look just like the old laptop looked like.
Well, you don't want to have any quirks.
You don't want to have any quirks. And it's one of the things that we work very hard when we're doing an upgrade to make sure that when we walk away, that laptop is the way the user is able to use it and is familiar with using it.
So you do that type of work as well?
We do that type of work.
That was not a softball. I didn't know that ahead of time for our listeners.
That's what we do. We take care of the servers and workstations when we're upgrading. We make sure that we have a tech on site the next day so that when people show up, we can make sure that their colors are the same way and that they're still connected to the same favorite websites that they like to go to, etc., so that they're able to be productive and more efficient.
Wow. So let's go down the line. Radio Entrepreneurs is very dependent upon tablets, phones, and laptops. So let's say in about 2-3 months I come to you and I'm saying let's get one of the new Surfaces. We can set that up and we can have it all set and running and it'll be just fine with you?
Absolutely. We'll set it up. It'll be all your information that you're used to working with. Now the operating system will be a little different, so we'll have to train you on how to access things. But once you're familiar with it, it'll work just fine. It'll actually be great.
But I'll still be using Outlook, so things will be somewhat similar.
Things will be very similar. It's just that the operating system, Surface runs off Windows 8. So I'd have to show you, instead of using Windows 7, how Windows 8 works. And since it's the Surface, it has touchscreen ability. So you can actually use a mouse, a keyboard, and touchscreen. That's what puts it apart from the other tablets and laptops that are out there.
And then a year from now, you're going to be telling me I have to go to another technology.
Oh, that's what drives our industry, Jeff, is that once you get it, it's outdated.
You can't stay still in anything you do.
No,
right.
Can't.
And people have to realize that the utilization of technology is changing that quickly.
That's correct, and it's getting more wide burst.
So what else is coming?
Well, we've got, like I said, we've got Windows 8 and we've got the iPad Mini that's out there now. There's plenty of other technologies. You've got, well, as we said, Google Maps is now on the iPhone and the iPad, which is a fantastic addition. That was a big argument with a lot of the users of Apple. Trying to think, that there are technologies out there that aren't that widespread yet, but they're going to be. The Android has some beautiful phones coming out. The Galaxy 3 with Samsung is a fantastic phone. When you're able to zoom in on your phone on video, that's a pretty robust phone. For $199, that's
Not in my house, I get in trouble. It's either Jeff or Dad, stop that.
Right, exactly, exactly.
Konrad, clearly this is such an important issue. I think, you must sit in your office with your brother and say, everybody's behind the curve and everybody isn't taking advantage of this. I asked this question last time. I would assume that you can show people how to use technology to have a competitive advantage in terms of customer service and sales.
Oh, absolutely. Being able to use having the technology is one thing. Being able to make sure that technology is working for you in an efficient manner in a productive manner is a whole different way of looking at it, and that's what we help to provide our clients with.
Well, we're going to send you to, Lucia's going to be our beta test for the 2013 for Radio Entrepreneurs. We're going to send you to her to you, and you can train her and see if you can keep her up to date with technology.
Looking forward to the challenge, yes.
We'll see what you say in 3 months. Conrad, if somebody wanted to get hold of you, how would they do that?
Well, the easiest way would be to go to our website, which is www.tech-adv.com, and all our information's right there. 508-359-4028 is our office number, or they can email me, KONRADM @tech-adv.com.
Okay, well, my name is Jeffrey Davis. This is Radio Entrepreneurs. We've been speaking with Konrad Martin of techKnowledge Advisors, Inc. And Radio Entrepreneurs runs on techKnowledge Advisors, Inc., and we will continue to do so for 2013. We'll be right back after this break with more stories.